Hi everyone, in this video I will show you some of the new features in our latest release of DTools System Integrator. I'll start by showing some reporting improvements and then move on to the brand new customer portal feature. First I'll show you the brand new quote report. And what we've done here is combine some reports and some sub-reports into one document, similar to a report group, but intended for getting a quick quote out of SI with or without an equipment list / bill of materials displaying on the report. You will still create a project in SI, but you may choose to skip some or all of the steps in the new project wizard after entering the client information. You can always edit the relevant fields later for the quote report, and I'll show you where to do that inside of a project file. So let's go ahead and pull up a project here. Very small bill of materials listed here. And first I'll go ahead and show you the report. The quote report lists under your client reports here. It's also the default report for the newly named quick quote button here in the reporting ribbon. Here's the quote report here in the list, and beneath it are the default definitions. The primary one, or the default definition, being no grouping. The assumption here is that if you are producing a quick quote, you may not have defined locations or systems. As we've done in this example here, you'll notice over here there's no locations, no systems, it's just a list of materials. And so I will run this with no grouping. The first page of the report will list your company information as well as the client information. That is followed by a scope of work section if you have entered a scope of work for this project. If you have not, this section will not display. The next section that displays is a pricing summary showing the equipment, labor, sales tax, and a grand total for this project. We'll keep scrolling. You'll see the payment terms here as per the project, some text here, as well as signature lines. This page is then followed by the equipment list should you choose to run this sort of detail. You do have the option in your report parameters to turn this on or off. I'll go ahead and show you those report parameters now. To access the parameters, you're going to select a report definition here. Right click and choose Edit the Report Definition. That will open up the Parameters tab here, where this is where you can turn off the Equipment Details section if you don't want to see that. You can choose whether the equipment section does start on a new page or immediately start right after the signature lines. It's always a personal preference. This will use the themes inside of SI, and that's the next feature I'll actually show you, the customizable themes. You can show dynamic group totals, so that's if you're running this, say, by location, and you want to see group totals for each location. You can choose to show that in that equipment detail. And if you've added any discounts here, you could show that as a summary section on the report. And you can choose whether or not you want to show those payment terms. So those are all accessible via a right click, and that's editing an existing definition, but you can always create your own custom definitions here by right clicking the main report and choosing New Report Definition. Now I'll show you where the relevant fields and settings exist within the project for the quote report, in case you skip them during the new project wizard or just in case you want to edit them at any point. So we'll go here to the Home tab. The first thing is the company information. So if you haven't entered an address at this point, for instance, you might want to do that now. This is where you can enter the address. So go ahead and close out of there. The scope of work is right here. So if you feel like entering a scope of work for the project, you can either do it in text format or rich text format, and go ahead and add your information here for that first page of the quote report. Then there are the payment terms, and to get to those you can go to the settings tab here, and here's your payment terms button. If you click that, this is where you can adjust any number of fields here as well as the percentages for displaying on that report if you happen to be showing that section. Remember, you can always turn off the payment terms on that report via a right click. There's also your tax settings here if you haven't set those yet. And over here, you also have locations and systems. So if you do want to organize this, say by location, you could do that later at any point by clicking here to manage your locations. That setting is also up here on the ribbon. The last thing I want to show you regarding this report is how to change the default quick quote report that generates when you click this button. Maybe you've created a custom report based off of the quote report that you would like to run instead of the default report, or maybe you want to change it to run by location by default versus the no grouping. If it's a matter of the definition that you want to change here, all you have to do is set your default report criteria, it's called. If you right click a definition and choose Edit Report Definition, down here in the bottom left you'll see that this particular one is the default report criteria, and that means when it's programmed to that button, it will run with the no grouping. That's the one selected here. But if you wanted to change it to another one, you could right click, say, the by location one, and just check this box. It will automatically uncheck from the other definition. So if you'd like to do that, you certainly can. Or again, if you've created a completely new custom report, what you'll want to do is go here to your report settings and then go to the default reports tab over here and choose your custom report from this list. This is where all of the reports will list, and you can set that button to run any one you choose. And that is the new quote report in SI. While I'm in the report settings, I'll go ahead and show you another new feature in this latest release of SI, and that has to do with the themes. So if you click here, you can choose a theme. You could always do this, but now you can customize your own themes. So if I choose select here to choose a theme, here are the defaults that we have in the software. You can see that it changes the colors over here of the graphics on our theme. What's new here is this plus button, and that will allow you to customize this theme to whatever color scheme you'd like. So go ahead and click this. What this does is it opens up a little form here where there's a cover page, an item detail, and a summary section that apply to all of the reports where this theme is applied. Here you can select a shape or an object on the report, even text, and customize the colors. So if you click here, you could choose to make that red, for instance. Select here, you'll see that it selects this object and change the color. Now a lot of these colors will correspond to other pages, so if you go here to the item detail, you'll notice that this also changed to green here, just as if I changed this color here, it would change this middle section up here as well. You can select your colors from the palette, or you can get specific and enter the RGBA values or even the hex code for the particular color that you would like. And give it a name, and you can save this. We'll just say GVL. We'll go ahead and save and close, and that will display here under custom on the select theme form. Your custom themes will automatically be shared with all users. And now I will show you the brand new customer portal feature inside of SI. The customer portal feature gives you the ability to share documents to a personalized URL powered by the DTools Cloud that can be accessed online by your clients. Documents can be set up to require approval, or they can just be shared for viewing. Your clients can then view, comment on, accept and sign, or reject any documents. Email notifications will be sent to you when any of those actions take place. Approved documents can then be downloaded with the signatures in PDF format and stored in the projects folder. The first thing you need to do is create your personalized URL, and you do this under your company information. So let's go here to the control panel and open up company information. Here you will see a tab named Customer Portal. Go ahead and click on that. And you will need to create an alias here. So go ahead and click the Edit button and go ahead and put in your alias. We recommend that you use your domain name minus the .com or .whatever. And when you click out of that box, it's going to go ahead and create the custom URL for you here, where you're going to see where it says Global Vision Limited, in this case, .portal.dtools.com, and that will be the customized URL that you and your users will log into to view shared documents. You also have the option of entering a slogan here. I'll go ahead and put one in, and this will display on the login screen for accessing your customer portal. And when you're done, just go ahead and click Save and Close, and that will create your customer portal account. And that's all there is for setup. The first thing you need to do is create your personalized URL, and you do this under your company information. So let's go here to the control panel and open up company information. Here you will see a tab named Customer Portal. Go ahead and click on that. And you will need to create an alias here. So go ahead and click the Edit button and go ahead and put in your alias. We recommend that you use your domain name minus the .com or .whatever. And when you click out of that box, it's going to go ahead and create the custom URL for you here, where you're going to see where it says Global Vision Limited, in this case, .portal.dtools.com, and that will be the customized URL that you and your users will log into to view shared documents. You also have the option of entering a slogan here. I'll go ahead and put one in, and this will display on the login screen for accessing your customer portal. And when you're done, just go ahead and click Save and Close, and that will create your customer portal account. And that's all there is for setup. And now I'll show you how to share documents. There are three interfaces inside of SI where you can share documents to the customer portal. The first one is the Project Explorer. So we'll go there to manage your projects, and here you can select a project in the list, click the customer portal and share documents here. You can also do it right from within the project's interface. So if you have a project editor open, there's a customer portal tab here where you can share documents as well. And the third place where you can share documents is from the compare editor. So if you compare two revisions for the purpose generally of running a change order report, this is how change order reports can be shared out to the customer portal. First, just go ahead and run your compare here. And when the form opens up showing you the differences in the project, this is where you can click customer portal and share documents, and you will have the option to share your change order report. So those are your three interfaces. The one I'm going to work with today is here in the Project Explorer. So I'm going to select a project and then click Share Documents. Go ahead and move this over here. Here you can choose to add reports or add files. The difference being adding reports will newly generate reports to attach here to share to the customer portal, where add files would be if you've already generated a report, for instance, and saved it as a PDF, you could browse to that location and add that file. You could also add any other files that you want here. They could be user guides, they could be images. Keep in mind that this is a web interface, the customer portal, so what is viewable there will be determined by the browser. So image files tend to work well, PDFs definitely work well, but if you attach something like an AutoCAD file, like a DWG file extension, they may not be able to view that unless they have an add-in for their browser, but they will be prompted to download that file. Then they could view it locally on their machine. For this example, I'll go ahead and add reports. So when you click this, you'll be able to choose the reports that you want to run. You can also run report groups as well. So it'll be up to you which documents you'd like to share. I'm going to go ahead and share a proposal with images by location and a contract. And if you'd like to preview these before you share them, which is probably a good idea, here in this dropdown, it will list what you've selected down below, and then this will open the report viewer so you'll be able to view those documents. I'm going to go ahead and click Add and Close here, and you can see that both of those documents were added here to the list. If you need to delete one of these, just select a document and choose Delete. There's also a Move Up and Move Down option here if you want these in a particular order. There's also a Mass Update function here, and the Mass Update function relates to whether or not it requires client approval and whether or not it's inactive. So I'll just show you that very quickly, and then we'll talk about those features. But if you hit Mass Update here, you are able to decide whether these documents will require customer approval and set a valid until date. And once they've been shared, you would be able to mark them as inactive if needed. So let's talk about over here the required client approval option. So when you select a document, you can choose singly here also whether or not it's going to require client approval. And that includes a signature out there in the customer portal. The valid until date is set 30 days out by default, but you do have an option here of changing that if you would like. After the valid until date expires, the document will automatically be marked as inactive. Also, when you have a document selected, you can choose to rename it if you'd like, or you could add a description here. So I'll choose this proposal and go ahead and put a description in there. Notice the description shows over here. It will also show up on the email that your client receives. And the next step is to determine who will receive these documents. So if you go to recipients and users, the recipient here, there'll always be one default one, and that will be the primary contact for the project. You can add additional recipients here. As you can see, a new contact from the project contacts, from your client contacts, or just from your contact list in general. You can also import from Outlook here as well. And each person or recipient that you add to this list, you can decide whether or not they can accept and reject documents. If you only want them to be able to view them, you can uncheck this box. Down here in the Users to Notify section, whoever you're logged in as, your SI user will be the default here, but you can of course delete that person if you don't want them to be notified, and of course you can add more, either from your project resources or from your user list itself, anybody in your company. And when you're ready to share these, go ahead and click the Share button. Here you'll be able to add a message here that will display on the email that the recipients will receive, the people in this list here. I'll go ahead and enter some text here. You can also use snippets if you've saved those ahead of time, or create a new snippet on the fly here if you'd like to reuse this text. When you're ready, go ahead and click Share, and this will publish these items or share these items to the customer portal. And you'll get a notification once the documents have been shared successfully. Go ahead and click OK on that. Here in the Project Explorer, there'll be a little icon next to the project file indicating that there are documents that have been shared to the customer portal. What also happened is that emails were sent out to the recipients and the users to notify. If it's the first time you've ever shared documents, either as a user or it's the first time you've shared to a particular recipient, you'll each receive login credentials for the customer portal. It will have a temporary password there. I'll go ahead and show you some examples of those emails now. This is an example of an email that will be sent out to your clients. Notice that it will put your company logo here, and it will let them know that documents have been shared with them for a particular project, and then it will have their login credentials with a temporary password. And they will be prompted to change that temporary password the first time they log in to view the documents. And further down in the email is a link to the documents in the customer portal. And here's an example of an email that the users to notify will receive. So the SI users, they'll again get their credentials for logging into the portal with a temporary password and a sign-in link down here. Now, as a user, you can access the customer portal either from the link in the email that you received, or you can select the project here in the Project Explorer and click the View button here to take you out to the customer portal. But what I'm going to show you is the recipient-facing side of the customer portal, what your clients would see. This is the sign-in page for the customer portal. Here you'll see your logo displayed as well as your slogan if you entered one earlier. And again, I'm going to log in as a recipient here. I've already gone ahead and changed my temporary password, but just keep in mind that you would be prompted to change your temporary password on first login. So we'll go ahead and log in here, and you'll see the two documents that we just shared out to this client. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see filters as well as a legend to show you what these icons mean, and those are the statuses of these documents. Both of these documents did require approval, so you see that there are two pending approval. And if you click on one of these tiles, it will take you to the document. The document will display here in the middle section of the page. This will allow you to navigate back to the previous screen. You can also toggle between the documents here with this little drop down. And there are pagination controls along the bottom of the interface. You can also scroll up or down, or if you prefer, you can pop this out into its own tab if you'd like to view it that way. Over here, the recipients can accept, reject, or simply make a comment on the document. In this case, I'll just make a comment, and here you click this to send that, and that will send an email to the user, or the SI user. The SI users also receive an email when the document is viewed. Down here, there's a comments tab as well as a history tab that keeps track of everything except comments, in this case here, where you can see the document has been viewed. And again, an email was sent out to the SI user indicating that. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and just accept this document. Choose accept. That'll open a little form here where the client can write a comment. Go ahead and put one there. And they can also add a signature here. So I'll go ahead and just add a signature in this field real quick, the best I can with my mouse. And if you want to save this as the default signature, they can reuse this signature over and over again on their documents. That's just an option that they have. We'll go ahead and choose accept here. And this document has now been accepted. You'll notice that that comment went down here in the list, and the reject and accept buttons have been removed from here. All they can do at this point is change the signature. So if one of your clients happens to reject one and then change their mind and want to accept it, you will need to go ahead and reshare that document out to them so they can accept the new document. And once a document is accepted, both you and the client or the recipient will receive an email with a PDF attachment of the signed document. Go ahead and show you that. We'll pull this up here. And as you can see, there's an attachment here. I'll go ahead and open that. Here's the document, and I'll go ahead and skip to the last page. And here you'll see the signature from the customer portal as well as a date stamp. And the last feature I'd like to show for this is back in the SI interface. So we'll go back here and we'll go ahead and select this project. We'll check it out to us. Go ahead and choose yes on that. And here on the Files tab, you have the option of adding accepted documents. When you click this button, it's going to go ahead and download any accepted documents from the customer portal for that project. Over here, a new category has been created called accepted documents, and that signed document has been added to the project's folder. Well, everyone, that is my demonstration of the new features in our latest release of SI. Thanks for watching.